Hello everyone, welcome to Trackside with Tom. This is Steel Highway Webcams, and we are here for another exciting afternoon of railroad action. So, thank you for everyone who's tuning in here. If you want to give me just a little sound check, I'm flying solo here this afternoon, but I always appreciate letting people know that we have you online here. So if somebody wants to throw something in the comments and just say, hey, yeah, we can hear you, you're good, I'd appreciate it. So it is a Friday. I certainly hope that everyone is enjoying their Friday today. I'm here just sipping a Mountain Dew at my desk and watching the train traffic progress across various states here in the Midwest. Thank you, Brian. Always good to see you there this afternoon. So, we have, so the good news today is that we have the Dubuque Junction cameras are back online. And actually, just about 16 minutes ago here, we got a train southbound across Dubuque Junction. So I'm going to start right out by playing this. So just so that everyone knows, we're looking at 7th Street here in Dubuque, and this is a southbound train heading toward Clinton and Davenport. And we have got a single CPGE motor here on the head end. And I rolled some of this train by earlier, just off of the video. It looks to me like it's a solid tank car train. I can't really tell for sure what the commodity is here. But this was literally my project this morning. I made a round trip up to Dubuque, replaced the PC, and got the new webcam. This is actually a brand new webcam that we have mounted on the side of the building. And got it aimed correctly, and now we have our footage from Dubuque once again. So while this is rolling by, because it looks like this is just going to be a solid tank train, I'm going to take a little look here at ATCS. The 338 is actually still out at Manchester. I don't know if he's even going to make it into Dubuque in the next hour, because he's got to get up the hill at Delaware and all the way down into Dubuque. So the 338's running a little late today. There is a southbound at Muscatine headed toward Washington. We might rewind and see if we can get him on the Muscatine camera. I'm actually in the middle of restarting the Washington camera right now, and I kind of ran out of time getting that done. So I was not able to get that exactly up and operational yet. But it's possible. If we get a little break in the action here, I might be able to deal with that. If I look at Grand Mound, we do have a westbound approaching Grand Mound. So maybe we'll flip over there in a little bit and watch that. Nothing moving on the CN Waterloo sub, really. The UP is still detouring over the Iowa Northern to get their traffic to Des Moines. Everything else is detouring through western Iowa, all the overhead traffic. But right now, nothing lined up in that part of the world. And the Neenah sub is actually also quite dead at the moment. So not much really to look at there either. And if I look at the St. Croix sub, we are going to have a westbound at St. Croix, or Trempealeau, excuse me, on the St. Croix sub. So we'll have that to look out for as well. So we've got some train traffic on the docket here. And we're just continuing to roll by this tank train. I'm not sure if this is one of these oil sand trains that the CP runs. Just not 100% sure. It doesn't look like the tank cars have placards on them, which always makes me think that maybe the tanks have just been cleaned recently or something along those lines. But otherwise, we'll talk a little bit just about our host here in Dubuque is All Seasons Trucking, and they were gracious enough to allow us to put 2 cameras on their building here at East 7th Street in Dubuque. and get nice views of both the CP and CN before they come together at Dubuque Junction. And there's the DPU, so we literally just have a solid tank train with a BNSF swoosh on the end. So that is our first roll-by of the day. That was our train at Dubuque, a southbound on the CP at Dubuque. Let's kill the volume there. Apparently that guy was in a really big hurry to get across the railroad crossing after the gates went up. I heard him revving his engine. Let's go over to Belle Plaine quick, and I'm actually going to back this one up just a little bit so we can go back and see the head end. We have a eastbound here at Belle Plaine. Looks like it's going to be a solid container train. And this is being hosted by the Belle Plaine Area Museum. Fantastic place to go check out if you're ever in the Belle Plaine area. They're open Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Oh, there's the CNW 1995 right there. Good thing we switched back over. I didn't even know that was coming. I knew it was in the area. I didn't know it was on this train. So we just got ourselves a heritage unit right off the bat. And it looks like we are, at least the head end anyway, is solid shipping containers. EMPs, yeah, lots of shipping containers here. Double stacks, going towards Chicago on the Union Pacific. This is on the Clinton sub. This guy's headed for a crew change at Clinton. While this guy is rolling by, I will give you an update about Clinton also. We're going to have webcams in Clinton, however, they're going into a museum in Clinton, and the museum is falling behind in their renovation schedule. They've had to turn off the internet in order to complete some of their renovations, so we're not going to be able to have webcams in Clinton until the internet is turned back on, and it's very likely now that that might go into the winter or even next spring potentially. Excuse me. So, unfortunately, delay in the install for the equipment at Clinton, but nevertheless, we are going to get that done as soon as we can. There were some refrigerated trailers there. I mean, you see trailers on flat cars. There's some UPS trailers. So this might be an eastbound bird train. The eastbound bird is a reference to the former CNW Falcon service that used to run. Hello, Patrick Shea. Good to see you this afternoon. And the moniker that it was given, the CNW... Oh, we have a meet? No, we just have DPUs. Alright, we got DPUs coming. So, back-to-back DPUs in the middle of the train here. Sound pretty good going uphill. Working pretty hard. This is going up a pretty good grade through Belle Plaine going eastbound. So these trains, these express or priority container trains with trailers on flat cars like the UPS and FedEx trailers, a lot of times you'll hear those referred to as birds. That's a reference to the old CNW Falcon service that they used to run. But the moniker that they always got was the bird by the CNW crews. So we should have a westbound coming up here to Grand Mound pretty soon. He's across the interlocking at Grand Mound, which is about 1.5 miles east of where this location for the camera is. And it looks like there's somebody out there actually potentially set up waiting to photograph the train. So some rail fan is on TV, doesn't even realize it. So what are we talking about here? Imagine not shooting the hill track. Huh. Yeah, that's a reference to Iowa City. The Cedar Rapids and Iowa City and the Iowa Interstate do a interchange on the hill track in Iowa City. So let's see, we should have a westbound UP train showing up here at Grand Mound any moment now. Hello everyone again. I see we have 13 people online now. So welcome everyone to Trackside with Tom on Steel Highway's webcam channel. Let's take a look. We're waiting here patiently with this one rail fan who's set up to photograph the westbound train. I don't have any idea who it is. If anybody knows who's out here at Grand Mound, you might say hi. Hello, Michael Richmond. Good to hear from you today. I don't see any gates coming down yet, but Grand Mound is a replica C&W depot that is along the now Union Pacific tracks. And it is both an ATCS host site and it is a webcam location. And it appears that there's also bugs here, so that's always fun. I think that I might have heard the train whistle in the background. We might be getting very close to having. We might be getting very close to having our westbound train here. Let's see here. I don't think that nope, I didn't mute that. There we go. We'll get on the right tab. Hello, Jeeper Preacher. Jeeper Preacher is somebody who keeps up the train logs for East Dubuque and Dubuque, and you should know we just got Dubuque back online this morning. So you have your Dubuque North and South cameras that are functioning once again after we had an equipment failure. Actually, I had to drive up there and replace a PC this morning. So as we wait here not so patiently for the UP to make their way into Grand Mound, there is contact info for the Grand Mound Depot. Oh, here he comes. I believe that there's contact depot for the Grand Mound Depot so that you can get in there and tour the building. And we have a westbound coming. He is on Main 1. And it looks to me like this is just a regular manifest train. Not exactly tearing up the speed here. That head-end car, that ARMN reefer, that car might be a leftover from the UP salad shooter service that they used to operate. Long string of short tanks there, those Procore tanks. The UP used to run salad shooters, which was the nickname for it. It was a service that they ran from the Pacific Northwest in connection with CSX, I want to say, out to various locations in the Northeast, and they would run frozen perishables east from Washington and Oregon, and then they would get unloaded for grocery stores in the Northeast, and then there was something that was being loaded, also obviously perishable, going in a mechanical reefer and going back west, and that service existed for several years in the early 2000s and into the 2010s even, I believe. This guy is just not, he is just not moving very fast. This is a fully optimized trip, as some of my railroader friends might say. He's probably got a notch restriction. He can only go notch 4, and they're kind of at the top of the hill here, so he's just dragging them along. Got some old covered hoppers there, very rusty looking. There's a long tank and a couple of shorties. Some 4-bay hoppers there in between. Those CFEX and ShipX 4-bay hoppers. Tilex 4A hoppers. Have to have some pretty light stuff to put in that big of a hopper. A very, very rusty curved hopper there. So what else do we have? Oh, there's some MP, Missouri Pacific reporting marks. And you see, oh, you actually see two different styles of coiled or covered coil hop cars right there. So that's kind of interesting. One had a single cover on it, and the other one had two separate covers, that one on each side. Another long string of tanks. And some newer hoppers, some older hoppers. Man, the UP is probably making a lot of money on this train. This is what people would have joked as a mortgage lifter train. It's just kind of the manifest for everywhere. And here comes the rear of the train. We got a tanker on the rear, and we are complete with a marker. Look at that. All right. Well, let's move right on over to Trempealeau, because I believe that we're going to get some westbound traffic at Trempealeau very soon, if we haven't already. I'm looking at the St. Croix sub right now, and sure enough, it's showing a train that's in the block between CP 3154 and East Winona. So, oh hey, Evan, he's mowing the neighbor's lawn, but he's here. So, Jeeper Preacher, you live on the CSX Philly sub, and I still haven't seen the new CSX coil cars. Well, that's a bit bizarre. Huh. But that's definitely one of them that we saw in the midst of that manifest train that went by Grand Mound just now. This is, man, I just love going to this camera just because of the fantastic view that we get looking out across the Mississippi River. You know, one of these days, I'm going to turn on, and maybe if I can remember to do it, to actually get the CP River Sub ATCS up so that we can know if there's something coming across the river to be able to look for it. But right now, we're not getting much of anything. I hope that we didn't miss this train. Oh, we did. Look at that. We had just missed it. Let's back up. We're going to back up here about 5 minutes. That's why. I thought that the train wasn't by us yet, but it turns out it was. All right, we're going to skip to right. Nope. We're going to go back just a little bit more. Nope. Here we go. This actually has a pretty interesting consist on it. Let's take a look at this. So we've got a couple of BNSF swooshes, and then, let's see here. Oh, there's a Jeep. Yeah, there's that BNSF Jeep. I didn't get the number, but you got quite a few engines on the head end there. And we've got a westbound train headed for St. Paul, up the BNSF St. Croix sub. This is at Trempealeau, Wisconsin. Make sure and check out the Trempealeau Hotel. And they are also a restaurant and bar. And just fantastic food. Live entertainment on a lot of weekends in the summer. There's some auto racks. Some well graffitied auto racks, I might point out. And the BNSF is running. This is, I mean, it's auto racks, but there was one short tank there in the middle. And there's some BNSF system hoppers. What else have we got? A paper box car. There's some loads of, I don't know, loads of lumber going north. or going west. There's some, that's what I would more expect, is those empty center beams going back west to get loaded. Yes, the H1 scheme is personal favorite. All right, so that was a pretty shorty, but I wanted to make sure and roll that back so we could see the power on the head end of that BNSF manifest. So we'll skip this thing back ahead to live. And oh, my ATCS is cutting out on me. So where exactly are we going to switch to next? Well, I have an idea. We're going to go over and we're going to, pardon me, we're going to take a look at Manly here quickly. I'm going to have to actually pull this one out and get it up. Here we go. Because we're going to talk about these detours that are continuing to persist on the Iowa Northern a little bit. From the Iowa Northern, or excuse me, from the Union Pacific, they're getting on the Iowa Northern right here at Manly, and then running down through Cedar Falls and Cedar Rapids, running around the train at Cedar Rapids, and then be able to run them west over to Nevada and Des Moines. Yes, Rich is expecting Verndale Cam to be set up by September 30th. Yes, that is very exciting. He's a friend of the Steel Highway channel for sure. Oh, we have another westbound lined up that's coming out of La Crosse, so we'll be able to go back to Trempealeau, see another westbound here pretty soon. So anyway, I do not know the current status of the detours. I know that they're still going on, just not 100% sure exactly where any of them are. So if you have any status updates on the UP detours on the Iowa Northern, feel free to share them. Today's detours, 3:31 a.m., 7:34 a.m., and 8:49. Yes, at Manly. So, I don't know, maybe we will get to see one. I'm trying to get back into ATCS here because I actually got kicked out. I was hoping that we would actually see one by the Cedar Falls camera, but I know that they have had repeated issues with the positive train control system of the Union Pacific interacting with the positive train control system of the Canadian National. To the point where I think that they even may have decided to run one with an Iowa Northern leader just to get it from Cedar Falls Junction over to West Waterloo the other day. So in the meantime, nothing really here to speak of. And if I'm looking around, I can see that. So the next westbound on the BNSF is actually at Sullivan. He's crossing over on his way out to head west towards St. Paul. He's crossing over at Sullivan right now, which is about 15 miles from the Trempealeau Cam. So we'll check back in on him a little bit later. What else do we have going on here? Oh, we lost the Nina sub. So do we have anything moving yet on the CN Nina sub? And it would appear that at the moment that is not the case. Nothing particularly close anyway. Really hoping for something to get called out of Stevens Point so that we can have some traffic here on the camera. But the closest train is actually at Nina, and he's lined up down to Fond du Lac. So nothing really to see from that side anyway. And if we just keep poking around, I mean, I'm going to find something. Yeah, all of my ATCS instances seem to have died on me for some reason. But we're going to go ahead and log back in. Was there anybody here? I know that there's a couple people that chased the Union Pacific business train or office car train that ran from Council Bluffs all the way to South of. Yeah, we're buffering, but we're back now. I'm not sure exactly what to attribute it to. Maybe some sunspots or something messing with the internet connection. But we're back now. So I apologize for the inconvenience there. What I was starting to say actually was that there is in fact another westbound lined up at Grand Mound now. So we will definitely check in on that. Let's go over to East Dubuque quickly and see if something pops in there.
61 East, understands from Florian, charge form B7506.
Oh yes, we do have something. We have an eastbound.
9.0. Okay, pan without stopping at 180.8. No flags displayed at the moment. Maximum authorized track speed. Main track 1.
Where is... Alright, we are going to switch back over to East Dubuque because I believe that there is a train getting very close to East Dubuque right now. I just heard him getting talked through the Form B. So, if the train is close enough that we can hear him talking through the Form B, he should theoretically be here very quickly.
That was correct there.
You know, I had wished that I had time to stop in over here at East Dubuque this morning and ask him about cutting down that tree, but it just didn't happen. Unfortunately, that was not in the cards this morning. I basically had just enough time to dash up to Dubuque, swap out the PC, and dash right back. So that was all the time that I had this morning. And, oh yeah, I hear him, definitely hear him whistling. He's coming through downtown East Dubuque right now. He's going to be coming toward the camera as an eastbound here. So let's see what we've got at East Dubuque. The 338 has made it all the way to Dyersville. I still don't believe for a second that we're actually going to see him across the camera there at Dubuque Junction. So we're on Main 1 here, and 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there's all of your standard BNSF power right there on the head end. Oh, there's going to be 2 highlight videos today. Excellent. And what do we have here? Is this just a loaded grain train? Seems like lots of BNSF system hoppers and then some lease cars. But we've been fooled by this before. What I thought was a unit grain train before has definitely turned out to be grain on the head end and just junk or manifest on the rear. So what are we doing right now? We're seeing more and more BNSF grain hoppers. You know, some of them, some of them have this BNSF swoosh on them, and some of them have the older wagon wheel style logo, reminiscent of the ATSF, obviously, but says Burlington Northern Santa Fe on it. Lots of graffiti on these hoppers as well as we're rolling them by here. There was one that just went by. There's another one right there. Those are actually the older wagon wheel style of BNSF logo on those grain hoppers. Hello, Eli. So what have we got for... I haven't been counting cars, but... Oh, nope, here comes the manifest. This is another one. They tried to fool us. Hello, Brett. How are you doing today? So we had all kinds of, I don't know, maybe a solid block of grain on the head end, and now we're into the manifest, the junk, on the rear. So more precision scheduled BNSF railroading. So what else have we got? I mean, this is, yeah, lots more of these covered hoppers. Some of them are 3-bay. And a not fully loaded center beam flat, but That could be way. There's some scrap guns. I don't know if we've seen those before, at least on this camera anyway. Definitely some scrap guns going by. And more center beam flats loaded with lumber, paper products. Mostly lumber, I believe. And just some standard length tank cars. They've got white placards on them. Can't tell what the number is, but it looks like white placards with black stripes on them. So more leased hoppers, 3-bay hoppers coming by, and some short tanks there. I've never seen these VTG hoppers. I'm not really familiar with where they are. Old Threshers and thought that for next year's reunion, maybe setting up a cam on the narrow gauge loop there for the weekend. You know, that's not a bad idea. I'm actually, so for those of you who don't know, I'm also involved with the Iowa chapter of NRHS. Here's the end of our BNSF train. And we're going to be hosting our next meet at we have our meeting this fall, which is going to be in Des Moines. And so just to do a little promotion for the Iowa chapter of NRHS, we're going to be doing a meet that will be at Old Threshers at Mount Pleasant next April. And that is going to be, I got to figure out which one of these that the volume is coming from. Not that one. So we're going to have our meet at Old Threshers. And I've been in contact with them quite a bit. I would really like to have a webcam there because I do feel like there's a lot of really neat stuff that goes on at Old Threshers. So, oh, there's where my volume came from. There we go. There's Wapaka. So Dave Nish and Brett Peterson, here you go, are checking in on Wapaka, although I do not believe that there's anything particularly nearby. Nope, still nothing lined up out of Stevens Point, and nothing lined up out of Fond du Lac coming the other way, or out of Neenah. So I don't know that we're going to see a whole lot of anything on Wapaka this afternoon. Amtrak cameras. We have Mount Pleasant, but the time of day that we're on air, it'd be pretty rare to see Amtrak, honestly. So let's go ahead and switch back over to Trempealeau. I think that this is going to be our next best bet. Yes. So the next westbound on the BNSF is on the approach block to CP 3154. So he'll be up here in a few minutes, up to Trempealeau. Jeff Rossi, happy Friday all. Absolutely, happy Friday. Happy to see you guys here. Thanks for tuning in today. Definitely glad to see everyone checking in. And I know that, give you a little bit of a break and maybe an otherwise tedious day. I just knocked over something on my desk, so that's what you heard right there. So while we're waiting for this BNSF train to show up, I'm going to do a short promo for the Steel Highway magazine. I can tell you that the next issue, oh, we're not live. There we go. Now we got it up to live. The next issue of Steel Highway is going to be featuring Polar Express trains, Christmas trains, all kinds of holiday-themed excursions and trains. Steam or diesel, doesn't matter. And I can tell you that if you want to submit photos, if you have something that you want to potentially see published, go ahead and send it to thesteelhighway@gmail.com. That's thesteelhighway@gmail.com. And that is how you can submit photos. Hopefully it wasn't your Mountain Dew. No, I did not knock over my Mountain Dew. If I'd done that, we probably would have had a technology crisis. No, I knocked over something that was not going to make a huge mess, thank goodness. And there, I have actually finished my Mountain Dew now, so thank you very much for your concern. VTG is primarily a European ag transport. They see a lot of their rolling stock out east. Very interesting. Can't wait for your first issue. So, interestingly enough, we have had 5 people that have subscribed to the magazine in the last 2 days. So thank you very much for all of your support. I definitely appreciate it. And I can tell you that everyone that ordered the magazine, I'm sending you out the back issues to get you caught up. So just so that everyone is aware, subscriptions are going to start and end on they're going to start and end on the 31st of December or the 1st of January. And so anyone that's subscribing now, I'm sending you out the 3 quarterly issues that have already been published this year, and then subscriptions will need to be renewed again in January. So thank you everyone for your support, and if you are interested in subscribing to the Steel Highway magazine, you should definitely go check it out. It's an excellent photo journal, and it is available by going to steel-highway.com. So make sure and check that out, and order a single issue, order a subscription. We'd be happy to have your business either way, and I know that you're going to enjoy all of the wonderful photography that is available in this magazine. It really is just, it's just such a pleasure for me to be able to see all the wonderful photos that people submit and get them all laid out. It's a pleasure, and it's a really difficult chore, honestly, to be able to select the best photos and put them in there. So thank you everyone for submitting. Our westbound BNSF is quickly approaching the Trempealeau cam. I would expect to see him literally probably maybe in the next 2 minutes here. He's actually strung out across the interlocking at CP 3154 right now. So this is an interesting thing to point out also. On the BNSF, they sometimes they name their control points, like in this case East Winona and Winona Junction, which are both very close to the Trempealeau camera. But some of the control points are labeled by the milepost. So CP 3154, when I talk about that, it's actually at milepost 315.4 or 315.4. It's 2 miles away from this location, which on the cameras, I always try to put the milepost up there in the top left corner. In this case, we're at milepost 317.4. So the crossovers are 2 miles east or south of this camera. And then the single track section, which is 3 miles, or 2.5 miles, I think, starts at East Winona, which is at 325.7. So that is 8.5 miles beyond this, going the other direction, going in the direction that we're looking, actually, to the west or to the north. It is kind of confusing because the BNSF on the St. Croix sub considers this to be westbound, but if you go over to the CN, which runs parallel to it through central Wisconsin, they consider traveling the same direction to be going northbound. So it can be a little bit confusing, I'm not going to lie. Hopefully we're going to see this BNSF westbound. He's going to be coming up on the inside main here pretty shortly. He has cleared the interlocking. And let's see what we've got. I do not, I don't know. Oh yeah, the volume's on. I'm hoping that he doesn't stop just outside of the camera. There's a defect detector right over here also that I don't know if you can see, but it's... Oh, here he comes. Alright, we got a container train this time. Lots of shipping containers. Those evergreen shipping containers, they're going to a port to get loaded onto a ship, I assume. There's an Italia shipping container. You know, these shipping containers are kind of an interesting story also, because the empty ones are starting to show up in a lot of people's yards. Businesses keep them for storage. Sometimes if you go through the backside of a Walmart parking lot, you'll see these shipping containers just sitting there with extra inventory for the store. So here goes the BNSF. Again, going westbound towards St. Paul and probably towards Seattle in this case, to have all these shipping containers loaded up and sent overseas. So what else do we have here? I mean, it's evergreen containers and red. I don't know what I do not know. Hello, Northern Colorado. He's one of the guys that came over when we imported the Greeley cameras. Yes, everything you see at Walmart is in these shipping containers. That's 100% correct. This is how it gets to us. So as we're watching this go by, and we're going to go back over here and check out the Clinton sub again, because, well, there's a westbound lined up at Grand Mound. Oh, there's the end of the train. So that is the end of our most recent BNSF westbound. At Yuma, Arizona, they're used as a border wall. Yeah, that's a good point too. Just all kinds of uses for these shipping containers. So I don't know if everyone could hear the defect detector there, but every railroad has a little bit different information on their defect detectors. On the BNSF, they tell you what main you're on. They tell you the number of axles, and they tell you no defects. So what those defect detectors are doing is it's actually taking the temperature of every wheel as it goes by, and if it sees a spike in temperature, then it kicks out a defect, and it says, hey, you got to stop and roll your train by and check out why this axle is hotter than all the rest, or a different temperature than all the rest. And sometimes it's a sticking brake, sometimes it's a bad journal. There's lots of different reasons. Sometimes they have a dragging equipment detector also in between the rails. And then at some defect detectors are also what are called wild detectors or wild card detectors. And wild stands for wheel impact load detector, which is basically looking for flat spots. So when you hear a train go by, when you roll a train by and you hear it going bang, 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 bang as it goes by, you're hearing that the flat spot is hitting the rail. Yeah, you don't want to hear dragging equipment on a defect detector. That's 100% correct. Definitely do not want to hear that. We actually have another eastbound coming up to Belle Plaine. He's a little ways out yet. He's just cleared Tama, but we may be able to get over and roll him by at Belle Plaine here in the not too distant future. And if I look at Cedar Falls, do we have anything nearby or moving on the Waterloo sub? Oh, I forgot to switch this off. There we go. Volume's off now. Let's go over to Belle Plaine, and we might hang out here for a little while until we get a better plan, because the westbound at Grand Mound hasn't shown up yet. Oh, we do have we have an eastbound, or excuse me, a northbound. Yeah, flat spot pounds out the rail in the cold weather. Yeah, it can create broken rails. It's a really big problem. So may have a train at Manly soon. Railroad truck by the switch. All right, let's go check that out. Maybe we're gonna get a detour that does look like a crew van. So let's hang out here at Manly for a little bit. I do want to say thank you to the Sabin family for allowing us to put the webcam into the Manly Depot Museum. And I know that this one has gotten a little bit of publicity lately on Facebook, so that's been good. And I need to reload this Cedar Falls 8 or the Waterloo sub ATCS because it doesn't seem to be updating, but I want to see. Nope, there's still nothing lined up through Cedar Falls. And of course nothing lined up at Mills Tower really because they're still not running through trains. The only thing you really get at Mills Tower right now is the local. And when he doesn't have any road traffic to compete with, I think they get their work done a little bit faster over there in Iowa Falls. When I look at the St. Croix sub, I don't think we're going to get another train unless something comes out of the Sullivan Yard. Unless something comes off of the Sullivan Yard lead, I don't think we're going to get another train at Trempealeau this afternoon. I guess it's possible there might be a eastbound at Trevino. It's possible that we might get that if he starts moving after these other two westbounds clear up. So we'll have to see what happens there. But in the meantime, we're going to hang out in Manly for a little bit. Full derailment on the KCS a year back or so. Oklahoma, rail fanning. Trains made it over. Southbound took 7 or 8 cars, derailed. Yeah. Mills Local went north at 7:41 and south at 9:45 and headroom at 11:54. Well, maybe we can jump over. Oh, I hear a whistle. I think we're going to wait. I was going to jump over to Mills Tower and see if we could catch the switch engine power that's working in Iowa Falls. But if we've got something close here, I'd be inclined to just wait and see. I thought for sure that I heard a whistle. But maybe I did not. What are we going to do here? We are going to... Oops, there we go. Going back to Iowa, or to Manly. What's 586 looking like? We looked at the you're talking about the local there on the Neenah sub. He is lined out of Neenah to Waiwega. I think that's the 586. Job 16 power is the UP 1477 and the UP 1106. All right. So, a couple of Jeeps. That is pretty common. Sometimes they have the SD40Ns. Yeah. So, I wasn't hearing things. There's definitely a horn nearby. We just don't know where it is and which direction it's going. But if it's a southbound train, the chances are... See an interchange at Dubuque. They usually... Oh, yes. You know what? They were on right when I turned on the cameras at Dubuque Junction. I did catch them coming back with 3 hoppers coming off the drawbridge into the CN Dubuque yard. So where is our train that was whistling for some indiscriminate crossing that we can't identify anymore? I do not know the answer. Yeah, the BNSF St. Croix sub is pretty much dead. And we may be able to just sneak in another train at Belle Plaine, potentially. And it looks like that, yeah, the westbound that's lined up at Grand Mound, he still hasn't shown up on the circuit at Grand Mound, so we got nothing there. So we're just waiting patiently, like all good rail fans, to see what is coming next and where the next train is going to come from. See plenty of car traffic. This is apparently a very busy intersection in the city of Manly. And that guy, I feel like he sat there for a long time contemplating the meaning of life before he decided to actually turn and go a different direction. Not really sure what was going on there. But apparently couldn't make up his mind. Oh, he pulled over there. I wonder if this is somebody also up here to photograph the UP detour moves. It's possible. Got a couple people getting out of the car. Do they have cameras? Looks like they might have cameras and tripods. So we got foamers at Grand Mound, and we got more rail fans up here in Manly also. People out looking for the detours. So I guess if the rail fans are here, then the train must be nearby, right? Isn't that what that means? I don't know if that's the most accurate statement in the world. Waiting on NS 1070 south on the KCS. That's exciting. That's one of the... Yes, I did. I realize that's probably not the best term. I should probably not use that. They're rail fans. Everybody loves the rail fans. We're very rail fan friendly here on Steel Highway. So while we're waiting for this train, I am going to do another... It's a banned word on the competition cam chats. Yes. Don't use that word. That's a bad word. Don't use it. So I was correct, though. That is in fact a couple of photographers over there looking for their detour train. Now they're getting back in the car, so maybe the train is further away than we were led to believe. So let's we are going to jump back over to Belle Plaine, because there is in fact a train getting very close to that camera. Oh, Greeley also. All right. Well, we're gonna turn off the volume here at Manly. Belle Plaine, and I'm gonna open up another tab here and get Greeley North pulled up just to see what we've got going on there. And we will slide this over. It looks like we are just in time. Look at that. We are going to turn on the volume. I'm going to back this up just a hair. Right about 47 seconds there. All right. So you can see the train actually going by on the inset camera. And now we're going to see them coming up to the crossing. Crossing gates are already down. And we're going to get a... So this inset camera in the lower left is definitely... that is the 18th Street camera. And then this camera is at 22nd Street in Greeley. Greeley is also a whistle-free zone, or a quiet zone. So a couple of UP motors and a decent-sized manifest train here. Well, I guess I shouldn't say decent-sized. It's kind of small by today's standards anymore. So thank you to the host there in Greeley, Colorado, who agreed to switch his cameras over to Steel Highway. We're always very happy about that. Yeah, that was actually a pretty shorty, almost like a local, really, for the UP. So we're going to do that, and then we'll switch over here to Belle Plaine, and I think we're going to get... Oh, we got to go live. There we go. I think I can hear the gates in the background. There's a crossing out of sight here, just out off the camera to the right. Yeah, that is a local going to LaSalle. Yep. That's what I would have guessed. So we have a eastbound coming up to Belle Plaine now. Definitely hear him whistling there in the background. And this guy is crossed over. He's coming up on Main 1. He's going to go apparently to Blairstown and then cross back over to Main 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. So just pretty standard 4 UP motors on the head end. And we have got more shipping containers. I don't know if this is another one of the Falcon service trains, but this is definitely, we have got the UP going east here, uphill by Belle Plaine. And there's a DPU not very far back in the train. And now here's some, yeah, some CR England reefers, stack train containers. Is that Tiger Cool Express? I couldn't read that very well. Tiger, I think that's Tiger Cool Express is what those white boxes say with the green lettering. Yeah, it's alright. Those train horns can be deceiving. Don't put too much stock into it. You just gotta trust your own eyes. Lots of single stack containers here. It's kind of surprising. You don't see single stacks very often unless if there's some kind of bridge requirement or maybe a tunnel clearance that they have to make. So we've got a long string of single stacks here. And again, we're looking at a eastbound train, excuse me, on the there's your UPS mail. Yep. Lots of UPS trailers there, so this would be a derivative of the old Falcon service going by Belle Plaine. Some short 28-footers, some bigger 56-foot trailers, or 50-foot trailers. And there is the end of our UP train. So let's just take a little evaluation here, see what we've got. I don't know that there's going to be a whole lot more. I don't know that there's going to be a whole lot more action that we can capture. The 338 is doing better than I would have expected. He's at Piasta now. Yep, UPZ train, that's right. And he will be getting out there onto the lead by... What's the difference between the spine line and the Albert Lee sub? The Albert Lee sub is actually part of the spine line. The spine line is a term that was coined by the C&W when they were trying to purchase the Rock Island trackage between St. Paul and Kansas City. And so the Albert Lee sub, the Mason City sub, and then the Trenton sub in south of Des Moines and in Missouri, those three are what make up the quote-unquote spine line. The traffic that derailed in Hampton is actually on the Mason City sub, which is closer to where the Iowa Falls camera is, the Mills Tower camera. And there's a lot of traffic on that line, so Tyler might be able to speak to this a little better. Yeah, 8 to 10 UP trains a day on the Mason City sub. So they are doing some detours over the Iowa Northern to get some of their traffic to Des Moines by way of the Iowa Northern and Cedar Rapids. And then some of the traffic is also being detoured over the Worthington sub, which is the former Omaha Road, which goes through southwest Minnesota and western Iowa down to Missouri Valley and California Junction in that area. Train at East Dubuque. Let's jump over there quick. Let's back this up a little bit. This might be our final train of the day. We backed it up just a minute. Thanks for the heads up there, Jeeper Preacher. and we're going to roll this guy by, and I think this is going to be it. So thank you, everyone, for checking in today as we're going to roll by the BNSF. Make sure and check out steel-highway.com and subscribe. Check out the magazine. Let's see here. Today we had a high of 35 people logged in, so thank you to everyone who logged in. What's our BNSF power? We've got a swoosh. We've got an H1 there, and more BNSF grain hoppers. So, thank you everyone for tuning in today. And we are going to be online next week. It's going to be, let me think, Monday next week. I'm going to be in Sedalia installing a webcam there. We're going to be live with Trackside with Tom on Tuesday. And then we'll be live again on Friday of next week. And I am still working toward install dates with Guttenberg and Bellevue, so look forward to those as well. And thanks again, everyone, for checking in. We're just going to roll this train by, and then we are going to be taking off for the afternoon. And I'm just gonna leave this up here, and when the train is done rolling by, I'll shut it down. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Check out steel-highway.com, and have a good afternoon.